It was a cold and silent night when barking echoed through the neighborhood. A desperate dog wouldn't stop howling in front of an abandoned house. Something inside terrified him, but no one knew what. Curious onlookers approached, feeling a chill run down their spines. The dog, a thin and dirty stray, growled as if trying to stop anyone from going inside. His eyes gleamed in the dark, filled with something that looked like fear mixed with determination. The neighbors whispered among themselves, restless. Some claimed to have heard noises from the house at night, creaking doors, objects falling to the floor. An old man who had lived there for decades swore no one had set foot inside since a fire years ago. But then, why was the dog so obsessed with that place? The wind whistled through the cracks in the broken windows, carrying a deep sense that something was very wrong. The mystery was about to be revealed, and it was far worse than anyone could have imagined. And you? If a dog kept barking at a dark and empty house, would you investigate or run away? The house had been closed for years. People said no one had lived there since a mysterious fire a decade ago. The dog had appeared out of nowhere, and every night he returned to the same spot, barking relentlessly. The residents tried to drive him away, but he always came back. They even called the authorities, but nothing seemed to help. What was so important in that house that made him insist so much? Some believed he was just hungry. Others thought he was guarding something or someone inside. Attempts to calm the dog were useless. Some neighbors tried to feed him, but he would just take the food and return to the same spot, as if protecting something. Stories started to spread. Older residents remembered a family that once lived there before the fire, but no one knew what had happened to them. Firefighters said they found no bodies, but there were also no signs that anyone had escaped. Suspicions grew when one resident, intrigued by the dog's persistence, decided to observe him more closely. He noticed that the animal wasn't just barking, he was also digging in a specific spot in the yard. Something was buried there. That was enough for a group of neighbors to decide to enter the house and investigate. What they found was terrifying. Take a moment and tell us where you're watching from. If you believe in the incredible bond between humans and animals, hit the like button and support our channel. Who hasn't felt a chill run down their spine when passing by an abandoned house? That eerie sensation that something or someone might be watching from the darkness. We've all heard stories about haunted places, about dogs sensing what humans cannot. Dogs have a sixth sense. They feel danger before it happens. Scientific studies have shown that dogs can detect subtle environmental changes that humans can't perceive. They can sense shifts in air pressure, vibrations in the ground, and even smells beyond human detection. That's why many people believe dogs can predict natural disasters and even detect unseen presences. There are also countless stories of dogs refusing to enter certain places, barking and growling at what seems to be nothing. Do they see something we can't? Or is their instinct warning them of dangers we have yet to understand? Many believe these animals share a unique connection with unseen energies. Dogs have been known to protect their owners from invisible threats, warn them about imminent disasters, and even behave strangely in places where tragedies occurred. Could this be the case with the dog in front of the abandoned house? Was he trying to warn people or prevent something or someone from leaving? With lanterns shaking in their hands, the neighbors pushed open the rusty door. The stench was overwhelming, a mix of moisture, decay, and something else. The air was thick, almost suffocating, as if that place had been sealed in time. On the floor, paw prints, clear signs that the dog had tried to enter many times. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of water dripping from the ceiling. Their first steps inside were cautious. The wooden floor creaked under their weight, the sound echoing through the eerie space. The dog moved slowly, staying close to the group, sniffing the air with intensity. The hallway was narrow, covered in cobwebs that hadn't been touched in years. One of the neighbors pointed a flashlight at a dusty mirror and for a split second swore they saw a shadow move. Their heart pounded, but when they turned, nothing was there. Each room seemed to tell a silent story of abandonment and despair. Furniture covered in stained sheets, half-open drawers, scattered papers across the floor. One neighbor picked up an old yellowed newspaper and read a section about a local disappearance that had happened over 20 years ago. The dog growled as he approached a door at the end of the hallway. His fur stood on end, and he began barking uncontrollably. Something was there. Something was waiting to be discovered. What truly sent shivers down everyone's spine was what they found in one of the rooms. A fallen chair, chains on the floor, covered in dust and rust, still attached to a metal ring embedded in the wall. The place looked like an improvised cell. The flashlight beams swept across the wall. Then came a scream. The surface was covered in deep scratch marks, some tearing through the plaster, others stained with something dark and dry. The air grew even heavier. It was clear someone had tried desperately to escape. The neighbors exchanged nervous glances, fear rising with each passing second. The dog entered the room cautiously, growling softly, his fur bristling. He moved toward a dark corner, sniffed the ground, and began barking insistently. One of the neighbors aimed a flashlight at the spot, and something metallic glinted beneath a thin layer of dust. It was a small silver ring buried in the dirt floor. What had happened here? Who had been locked away? The dog seemed to know the answer, but he could only express his anguish through his persistent barking. The worst was yet to come. If you found deep scratch marks on a wall, what would be your first reaction? Share your thoughts in the comments. They called the police immediately. The investigation uncovered something no one expected. Old records showed that the house once belonged to a man who had been missing for years. During their search, officers found personal belongings and documents indicating that he had lived there for a while, but there was no trace of him anymore. A witness stated that he had a dog, a puppy, and that they were inseparable. Could it be the same dog, now fully grown, who never gave up searching for his owner? The dog was examined by veterinarians and, despite being thin and dehydrated, was in surprisingly good health. His behavior showed an unusual fixation on the location, as if he were still waiting for someone to return. The truth slowly unraveled. The man, thought to be missing, had actually been the victim of a crime many years ago, and the house held hidden evidence of what had really happened to him. Forensic tests on remains found underground confirmed that they belonged to him, closing a mystery that had haunted the neighborhood for decades. The dog wasn't just barking for no reason. He wanted justice. His instinct and unwavering loyalty led to the revelation of the truth and finally brought closure to a case that once seemed unsolvable. He had been the only one who never forgot his owner, and his persistence finally brought answers no one expected to find. Do you believe this dog knew the truth all along? What do you think of his loyalty? The dog was rescued and taken to a safe home. In the first few days, he still seemed restless, as if he felt his mission was not entirely complete. He often looked toward the door, as if waiting for someone, or growled softly at nothing, sensing something humans could not see. But that house would never be the same. Even after the investigation, many locals still avoided walking past it at night. Some claimed to hear echoes of footsteps and whispers coming from inside. Others said they saw shadows moving behind the broken windows, or even heard the chilling sound of chains dragging across the floor. Some believed the spirit of the man never truly left, trapped by the mysterious circumstances of his fate. The dog seemed to understand more than anyone could ever comprehend. His eyes held a mix of sadness and relief, as if he knew his loyalty had finally been rewarded, but also that some secret should never be fully uncovered. Time passed. Dust settled over the hallways of that abandoned house once more, but the legend remained. The mystery may have been solved, but the feeling that something still lingers inside remains. Some stories never truly end. Some mysteries should never be revealed. After all this, would you walk past that house at night? What would you do if you heard whispers? Attention! To keep receiving incredible and emotional stories about animals, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You won't believe the story waiting for you on your screen. Click now and uncover the mystery.